What is this?
What, you didn't get the joke? It's my
No, I
mad
didn't.
scientist giggle, guffaw. We have entered the lab.
Welcome back, Ian.
It's been a couple weeks or more. It's still hot in the desert. Look, it's just like home.
It is just like home.
So yeah, we're in the middle of a move. You'll notice some of the vehicles are gone, but this is a long move. It's going to take a while. We got a lot of gear. So we're going to continue to work here. Now we're down just below 100 degrees, so we're back in action. Jamie asked, hey, who would like to see a further in detail arrangement of how these bubble top things are made? And there was a lot of positive response. So here we are in the mad scientist's lab.
You were just waiting to do it so you could do that laugh.
I was practicing all morning. So, any news from afar before we get into this procedure?
Well, we went on a trip, and what was your favorite thing that you saw on our trip?
The Washishu rest stop. I gotta say, it's the simple things in life that thrill me. And where we went, there was something that appeared to be no less than a 40-foot tall traffic cone. Be still, my beating heart. Then the next day it was gone. They burned it.
They burned it, and there was an
Underground.
airplane flying over it shooting fireworks out of its wings.
Pretty epic display.
But before they burned it, we did get to go in it, and we were inducted into what is it? The Coniverse?
The Coniverse.
The Coniverse. And the Cone Coffiny Society was the camp that had it out there.
It
And
was a whole vibe.
What else do we see? I'm thinking about
Saw
the picture that I have on my phone.
a lot of art cars. A lot. Definitely the best car show on earth. Mutant vehicles, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we saw all the things.
Saw a
lot
giant
of,
banana.
and the people, the cool people. I mean, there's a lot of outsider comments from people who haven't gone to the burn.
I dedicate this video
It's
to
awesome.
our camp.
Yeah.
Those folks that we met at the burn, we were part of our friend Ian. We've spoken about him in the Jeep videos. He has Big Willie Jeep. He had that out there in Playa. And we camped with this group called Camp Aerodynamic. Just amazing humans. Just Ian and I had a really, really, really great time.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about, the drug culture and the this and the that and the weirdos. It's like,
Ian.
The dust did not disappoint. Just look out the window. We're going 2 miles per hour. Actually, the best burn ever, beside the one that we met at. Like,
Right. Best burn ever. Amazing group of people. I don't know, like, you don't understand it until you come out here and just, you have to embrace the suck.
Yeah, look at this. Do you see anything out there?
Nope.
We're not moving because we can't see the hood of the truck. It's all part of the vacation.
It is all part of the vacation. You have to embrace the suck because then you have the most wonderful experiences. You meet the most amazing people. Yeah, that's kind of what it's all about. So
We'll see you all back in the new workshop.
we are ready to get back to work. Peace out.
was just like, that's why I mentioned the outsider perspective. It's like, nah, like we had a really good camp. Everybody was cool as heck.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
enough
we're back.
about us.
Enough about shirtless Ian for 2 weeks. There's barely any clothes out there. It's super hot. You're bound to see a guy dressed like he's at the beach.
True.
Swim trunks, shorts, and that's it. Sandals.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's too much to see a man
Some
without his
people
shirt
can't
off.
handle it. And that's all right. They're the ones that need to go to Burning Man.
Kooky, baby. Kooky.
Anyway, so what are you doing?
Well, we're going to get into the details on how these bubbles are made. Because this is the Trike, you know, when the roof panel here, we were setting up for a tinted acrylic kind of look-through window. And I don't want a bubble top. This is going to be a pretty mellow rise, similar to those heart and kidney shaped van windows. This process will be the same. If you wanted to maximize the rise in this, you could blow it up like, yeah, Mylar balloon style, like really tall. And I'll be able to show you a little bit once it's at the right temperature. You can inflate and deflate a little bit while it's still warm. So we'll play around with it. If it doesn't work, there's plenty more plastic. And then this jig, this is the whole system here. We have the oven and then the clamping plates that are going to hold it all in place. So when I say oven, really all you need is more of a chimney. For something this size, you really don't need insulation. This is the way that I've made them. Gene Winfield, for instance, he had this tall, thin metal wall with a rail, and you would hang it like sheets on a line, and you would bring the plastic into this tall thing. I've heard people using a pizza oven. We've done it with barbecue grills. So it's just all a matter of getting the plastic, get out your notes, getting the plastic evenly heated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Acrylic loves that. You could do this with Lexan polycarbonate. It's a little bit higher temperature. As we're heating, we'll get into the warning signs of it getting too hot. So yeah, remember 300. A lot of people have asked me that. On the floor, we got a simple propane burner.
I recognize that.
Yes, we made spaghetti on playa, so it's authentic playa dust on that. Real simple. If you're frying a turkey for Thanksgiving, you'll see people put a big pot on top of one of these.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same game.
We had a big pot making a lot of spaghetti.
Made a lot of spaghetti. And you want it to heat reasonably even. So got this piece of aluminum diamond plate. If I feel like the flame is coming up too hot and it's gonna like affect the plastic, I'm just gonna warm up that. It's in the box in the end. I may be getting ahead of myself, but this is a general layout. You got your chimney shape box thing to keep the heat in place. You got your propane and you got your propane accessories.
And you found all this where?
All around us. This is a scrap piece of sheet metal, a couple clamps. I just put in the brake to make these square edges. That propane burner came from the Home Depot. Propane tank came from right around the corner. Piece of MDF. I'm pretty sure this is MDF, but you know, it's that composite kind of wood chip compressed board. This is pretty thick. I got this just because it was right in front of me. It's 3/4 of an inch thick, so good and strong. What I'm laying out here is the roof panel on the Trike, as I mentioned. So yeah, we're gonna have this window here where the plastic sits. There's going to be, I've seen people do this different ways. Gene Winfield, for instance, and a few other people, queen of the vans, you know who you are, they'll just take the plastic, set it into shape, and then clamp the edges. I've just used bolts for me because I've done these 5 foot by 8 foot massive pieces. So I'm going to stick with the bolts. You could clamp it, but that's what I'm setting up here. Series of fasteners, maybe every 2 inches, I think. So we'll have this top plate where the plastic will be pushed through. Then there's a duplicate, a mirror image right there. That's the bottom plate. All that will have, in the dead center, there's going to be a hole where the air comes through. But we'll get into all that later. It's like the airplane. Air comes out of this fitting, piece of fuel hose, air blower gun, little hose clamp. So we will be blowing the air into this thing via the standard airline in the shop. So, nice little chat. I'm going to get to drilling some holes. This is going to take a little bit. We're going to lay them out about 2 inches, I think, because this is pretty thick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah. Again, nothing too specific, just because. All right. So again, this is the backboard. That's the top board. We're going to want all these bolts to jive. So I'm going to clamp this and then start drilling. That way they all stay in place. Actually, I probably don't even need to clamp it because I'm going to place the bolts in there. So I'm going to drill one, carry on.
So are these any kind of special bolts that you're using?
1/4 20, 2 inches, because this was 3/4 inch material. So basically that. I'm just dropping them in place because we want all these bolt holes to line up in the end. So you might say to yourself, that seems like a lot of holes. But when you consider air pressure and the force it has, this may be twice as much that we need, but you don't want it to leak. So,
because if it leaks, then is it like lopsided?
Well, it could potentially be lopsided, or if you want to blow a really big bubble, the air just can't keep up. You'll never get the push you need. When we did those giant ones, you could hear it hissing. It was like whoosh. It was leaking out of every end.
And to be honest, how many times did you have to do some of those until you got the hang of it?
We only broke 2. We made about 7 or 8 of them.
Oh, wow.
But we broke number 1, then we got confident. I think number 3 or 4 we broke. But we tried a lot of different things.
And then, do you want to share how you learned the bubble top?
Well, I mentioned Mr. Winfield's apparatus, and I had read the Ed Roth books, and they talked about a pizza oven, but they were never really clear on how it was done. But I was at Rich Evans' shop when Gene was restoring his, what's that Econoline pickup truck thing called? That blue one. Anyway, it had a clear engine lid. So he went to Rich's shop. He had his oven thing there. And I watched him do it. Me and a few other guys were just amazed. Gene shows up at like midnight.
I've heard he's a night owl.
Shows up at like midnight in Huntington Beach. He lives in Mojave. Him and Jimmy and a few other dudes do this, do that, heat it. Within 2 hours, they were gone and gone. Yeah. Like so many things, all in the setup.
Well, and I feel like with your television show versus our YouTube, that's why we get some of the complainers and the whiners that say you're taking too long, blah, 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 blah. And this is actually what you're out here doing part of the day in order to get that project to completion that was never shown on television.
Yeah. So again, I was here about an hour and a half before Jamie got here.
And yesterday you spent getting the materials.
Getting the stuff, yeah. Takes time.
It's like a little kid, like puzzle thing. That's what it reminds me of.
So you see what we're doing here. You can pretty much have any shape in the center. You could have a heart, square, like whatever. But it is a balloon, so it only blows up. You know, you'll have your edge definition, but it only does one thing. It's not like vacuum forming where you can get different shapes in it. So let me clean up this mess a little bit. So that is our whole arrangement.
See, like I said, a little kid with their little tool, what are those things? Your workbench.
The old square peg in a round hole scenario. Jamie made a mention. We want to thank Mr. Winfield for all the inspiration and a little bit of other news. So check it out. Like every template, you want to index that. Yep. So now, the moment of truth. I think I'm going to clamp this in place.
Gene, we love you, and I feel like you're going to see this video, and we love you. Gene's doing very well. We had a chance to talk with him before he got in the hot rod and did burnouts. He wasn't the driver, of course, and then after. He had to call and tell me about it again, but he's doing really well. Just want everyone to know we got consent to speak that he's doing well, but beyond that, we're not at liberty to share. We just ask that you respect the privacy of the people that are caring for him and respect us for respecting them, because that's really what it's all about.
Respect all around.
Right, for real. So he's doing well. It was so good to see him. So
Yeah, we had a little phone chat and doing okay. It's all you can ask, right?
yep,
All you can hope for.
very well cared for. And yeah, so he's doing good. It made us happy. And so yeah, so we get to share the news with you guys. And Gene, if you're watching this, we love you. We'll see you soon.
Gene, if you're watching this, take notes. That's all I have to say.
Take notes.
I'm going to show you a little something. I know right now, he's like, you don't need to do all that. Of course we don't. Well, come on. We're trying to get that algorithm going. We got to keep the people interested. So now I'm drilling through the acrylic. Here you can hear it snap through as it breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going pretty fast, but you don't want to rush this because if you crack the acrylic, deal's off. You
Well,
gotta
that was
start
my
over.
question. How do you know you're not cracking it?
You make a mistake.
Ah.
So I have found that a fast drill bit and low pressure kind of melts its way through, and you hear that at the end. Hear that? And you know you're there. If you drill slow and push hard, it's going to break it. Like with so many things, clean is the name of the game. You end up with a little fuzz in between your layers, it's going to leak.
Oh no.
True story. All right, so now we have all this stuff. Now, we're going to try to not get dyslexic on this. Even though they're marked, somehow I still end up messing it up. So we got top. Check. Cool. So now, yeah, we got all the way around. Now we're going to cut the center of this out. Maybe with a jigsaw, maybe with the big saw. I don't know. Let's try. I have the blade set so it just isn't piercing 100% through. Just because for this we want a nice straight line. You don't want the bubble, because it'll register whatever the cut is. So the corners can be freehand, but this puts a nice straight action through the longer section. Yeah, if you were to try this, ask me how I know. And you're about 3/4 of the way through and you got some waves through there. As soon as you inflate it, just like body work, you'll see that. So you want it as straight as possible.
You did it.
So check this out. See how the saws don't quite add up?
Hold on. Yeah.
We're going to want to take sandpaper and finish that because the plastic will register that. Everything you see, you'll see again. If you're not familiar with mold making or pattern making, this is par for the course. Everything that your original reproduces is never going to get better. It's only going to get worse. So you know, one little tick here, you're making a whole bunch of these, it's going to get worse and worse. So you want your original as pristine as possible. And it's really this edge, because that's where the plastic's going to be pushing through. It's never going to touch up here. Yeah, I can live with that. Actually, I can't see this right here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Let's clean that up a little bit. Yeah. I think we can live with that. So, yeah. Again, this white is the just a protective piece of plastic. I missed one hole, but that's no biggie. We could just catch up on that. That's where the clamp was. But we'll get to that. So yeah, all these holes should line up. They do. Cool. So that's the top plate. Bottom plate, we're going to drill one hole through the center and set up our air. All right. Doesn't have to be exact. The quick guesstimation will do. That's what my experience has shown me. So basically this is 2 feet, 12 inches, puts it there. Let's do 15 because that looks more like the center of the bulk. Let's put it right there. So this fitting, the air comes through the center, but this is going to get bolted and sealed to that. So because this is the top, we want to drill and fasten this to the bottom. So let's do this. Make it bigger. And in simple discussions, I've described this sort of like as a Mylar balloon. Those foil balloons, you'll see they have edges that are fastened, and they only blow up like that. They don't blow up like a regular latex balloon. The theory goes on. So yeah, we're going to want to center this, plug that through, set that on there. Now we're going to drill those 4 holes.
So would you say that kind of like Queen of the Vans, which I'll definitely link their Instagram to our, I think she has a website. Anyway,
it's queenofthevans.com.
Yeah, she makes some really cool stuff. So for each individual, say you wanted to make multiple different ones, much like she does, would you have all these different things set up? Yeah, okay.
In theory, if you were like pro model making or mold making, you would have a base plate for each design and a ring for each design. So maybe your oven and everything would just clip into it. But yeah, the foundry I worked in had a warehouse of molds and jigs and
okay.
everything. So yeah, you end up with quite a bunch of stuff hanging around. So I saw her doing like the heart windows, or she did like a diamond pyramid kind of thing.
Well, she does the coffins too.
Right, and that's like a drape. It's like a stretch mold, so it doesn't inflate, but she'll put it down and clamp it over his little buck. So there's
Oh, wow.
same kind of theory, but that one didn't use air, but yeah.
So the hearts, she would use the air.
I think so, unless she had like a faceted look, but yeah.
So neat.
Yeah, so that's it. You see what you get. This thing bolted in 4 times. So this is going to be facing the plastic, so we can't have stuff sticking through here. So we're going to reverse it. Put a little countersink right here and get these to settle in. Set down in there. You know what one of the joys is? You know what one of the joys is about moving?
What? Tell me. I want to know because I don't find any joy in moving.
My cordless drill is an hour that way.
Oh no!
I'll just put a little action on there. That way those will set down. Get a hammer and I'll set those in. See, now you got that flushed up. So we're going to put some silicone here. Look at that, it's cracking. Getting into it already.
Is that bad?
Yeah, it's bad. So, yeah, we don't want this to leak, so come on. Put a little of that goo on there.
So you could like basically use this mold once with that crack, but you wouldn't be able to do it again.
Well, you could use it until it's not usable. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
It's going to tell you when it's had enough. Old gorilla hands banging on it with a giant hammer.
I mean, you should have let me do it.
Yeah. Setting these up as little spacers. It's going to be fragile. Hopefully I didn't ruin it, but we have more material. If I did ruin it, we're going to pause for this commercial break, and I'm going to make another backplate. So one thing, and I don't understand the dynamics of it, but it is proven, and this is one thing Gene said, you're going to need a diffuser on this. And I've done it myself wrong. If you don't put a diffuser, like a little shield over this, it's going to blow straight up. It's going to make like a nipple in the center of your bubble every time.
Ah.
I guess the air pressure. So the diffuser can be simple as a piece of fabric. I've been successful in using just a piece of paper and stapling it down so that the air blows out that way. So I'm going to do that. Set this, and again, we don't want to bind this up, break it. So set this in the corner so it's hanging off. So yeah, even a piece of cardboard, I'm going to staple it down right over that. Yeah, that seems like it'll work. So yeah, you got your hole there where the air's coming out. So just kind of, so the air will go out that way.
How will it go?
Out that way. Sound effects are everything. So let's do a little test. When you hit this air pressure, you're not gunning it. See, I'm kind of choked up on this, and you can hear. That's all you need.
Ooh, and I feel the air over here.
Yep. We are go. We are go on that aspect. Prepare the next.
So would you say we're going into step
11. Following?
Yep.
Air goes in. Yeah. Clean workspace. So we got top, but the top is now the bottom. As with all pattern making, everything gets different.
I'm already confused.
Yep. Welcome aboard. It gets real exciting when we turn it over. I think I'm going to turn it over now and do it in sections. It's all in the presentation.
Oh, and if you guys have not checked out our Spaceport new shop video, check it out. And we're going to have some new merch. I forgot to show you, Ian, but I think Heidi and I have finalized the design. Yep.
There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a
What?
better way. Nothing. We're going to remove this.
Ooh.
Right now, somebody that's watching just figured out a better way to install this hardware, I guarantee it. So when I did the giant bubble tops, I had this little rack set up. So this was elevated, but then all the bolts and hardware were hanging over. But in the interest of keeping things timely, I'm going to wrestle with this right before your very eyes. So you can see it's tinted acrylic. So again, we want this sealed. Don't worry if this acrylic gets out onto the sheet. It pops, it doesn't adhere, it'll peel right off. I've had this stuff leak out all in through here, but once it's all said and done, it literally just lifts right off. It doesn't stick. And then you can just polish the acrylic with any kind of automotive, buffing compound or whatever. So yeah, you want to get that sealed like so. You want to take that, you want to set it on place like that. Now this is going to be tight. A lot of times I have to re-drill everything, but it might just pop in. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So yeah, this is where you could crack it. Could go all wrong on you.
Why did you just do that?
Because it's not a perfect world. If I'm drilling these by hand and one of them's doing that, one of them's doing that, that's what you end up with. So it's clearancing it out a little bit. When I was doing those big pieces, we're using 3/8 hardware. So I would be flipping this panel, pulling the bolts, re-drilling them. It's like a whole thing. If you were on a drill press, probably be indexed perfectly. All right, let me blow this off. All right, so now we're going to see how these bolts don't line up either. I'm going to wrestle this till we get it. So you can see how I'm making this gasket, right?
Mm-hmm.
The air stays in here and only works inside the hardware. Now this is where all that top to top drill, drill, drill all comes together. Let's see if it works.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So you know how you're using a metal like mallet? Would you suggest using a rubber one, or does it really matter?
Rubber one would probably be a little more delicate, but you know.
I'm just saying, for somebody for their first time, it seems like a rubber mallet.
Try a rubber mallet or a wooden mallet. Yes, I agree.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Welcome to the mad scientist lair.
I
If I had a
point them.
brick, I'd be hitting it with a brick.
Literally.
So, you asked why we would possibly want to shop with air conditioning.
Some people were mad when we said that we were going to move. They're like, how the shop has hearts.
Sure does.
It actually really does.
It's got blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
All right, so what you can see here is we got our sandwich. Got plenty of silicone coming out, showing that we are airtight sealed, which is groovy. And that's it. You got your faceplate. The plastic's going to push out through here. You got all your hardwares, and your air inlet there. Now we'll commence on firing up the Barbie. So for the big bubble tops, it would take me a full day. It would take 6 to 8 hours doing just that with bigger hardware around the giant plate.
But Ian, when are you going to finish that build?
Someday. All right, so that's it. Propane is burning. We can adjust our flame here. So I'm going to set it pretty low for right now. So what we're going to do, I got a little infrared thermometer. We're just going to test some stuff out. I think I am going to put the diffuser plate on there, because when do you actually get to say diffuser plate that many times in one episode? Mm-hmm. Our oven chimney thing, just going to go right over it. And you can see it's just scrap metal. I left the bottom open so that I can look in. And our little hose won't get super heated. You know, you don't want that thing to get hot and melt. So, yeah, we're going to put...
You don't want what to get hot and melt?
Well, we don't want our oven and our hose to get... I mean, we don't want our burner and our hose to get super hot, because then it just fails. So, yeah, it's going to act like a chimney. So, I'm going to put a lid on this and just let it sit, see what we come up with. I left the clamps here because I typically leave a little room for air to come out of the top. So what you want with this is a good soak in the heat. Rule of thumb that I've read is 15 minutes for every 1/8 inch that the plastic is thick. So 15 minutes soaking at 300 degrees for every 1/8 inch. Again, this may or may not be factual, but it works for me. So this is a 1/8 inch thick acrylic, 15 minutes at 300 degrees, but you could keep it there for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever, but you don't want to go higher. At about 345, you'll start to smell it. I'll explain that. So yeah, I'm just centering the plastic in the oven. It's on low. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and we're just going to take the temperature. You can get these at any Home Depot. They come in a number of brand names. So you just pull the trigger. 94 degrees. Floor, 90 degrees. Ceiling, 100 degrees.
What am I?
Smoking. Yeah, I'm gonna close this gap up a little bit. Yeah, and if you're familiar with barbecue grilling or whatever, it takes a little time to get the heat in there. So yeah, we got this lid on.
So the bubble is going to get pushed down?
I do it downwards, yeah.
Ah.
This is going to be such a small rise. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it right out of this and I'm going to blow it freehand so we can watch it pulse with the air pressure.
So like, wait, that's the whole point.
Well, yes. So a lot of people, you'll see them pull out the plastic, slap it on the table, clamp it, boom, 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 fill it, and it'll grow. But I've always done mine upside down.
Hey, man.
Hey. So our plate's 244, 255. It's increasing. So yeah, you see I leave a little window in there so air can come in, and then I can check the height of the flame. Yeah, that's a pretty good flame. So I'm going to put a couple screws in here. That way I can get rid of these clamps while it's warming up. I'm going to put some screws on this because with my luck, these clamps are going to come apart. You're going to see a whole lot of frustration.
I smell it.
Once you get a little bit more fluid with this process, you can literally smell when it's ready to blow. Yeah. It's only at 170, but it's climbing.
The plastic?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you're also smelling the wood. That you'll probably get a couple uses out of, but it'll definitely be burnt this time.
Yeah, you can see the heat rising out of there.
It's an oven. Much better. $200.
Ooh. And what are we trying to get to?
300. So the idea is I'm letting this come up slowly. I got the flame on reasonably low. So I'm gonna wait for it to plateau. So it'll hit hopefully somewhere around 2 something. And then we gotta raise it a little bit. I don't know. You can see it's starting to smoke. It's cooking the wood. And all this material is fresh, so it's gonna be a little more dramatic. I mean, there's some paint on that aluminum. There's oil on this oven. So yeah,
well, it's a nice windy day.
This
and
metal's only, it's generally blowing in that direction.
You took my line. I was gonna say.
That's only 102 on the steel.
We talked about Gene in that video where he was doing leading, and he's like, "You just put a fan and just let it blow away, blow away."
230. Yeah, bring that flame up a little. She's cooking now. 268.
Ooh.
Our base plate of our oven is 472, and at the top we're at 279. So we're getting close. See, she's cooking now. We'll turn our flame down just a little. 287. So now we can take a look in here. So what we want to look for is any bubbles, like the plastic will start to boil. You'll see bubbles if it's getting superheated on the surface. So let's just take a peek. Nope, look how flexible it is though.
Ooh.
See how warpy it is? It's almost there.
Cool.
So as it heats up, it expands and starts to just get gel-like. 280, a little more heat. I turned the flame down, it went down a little bit. Try to get 20 degrees hotter. There it is, 307.
Ooh.
All right, so I just got a temp of 307. $290, so we're around that point. Now let's just let it soak because it's there.
So did you turn the flame off?
Flame is pretty high right now.
Okay.
So we hit 300 a couple minutes ago. It's already got the shape. I mean, it's already all wobbly. I know from experience I could blow it right now, but hotter the better without going over. If I was hitting like 330, it's like, whoa, slow down. So it's always better to be a little bit on the underside.
Now you see why I tend the grill for so long when I'm cooking.
All right, so I'm hitting the temperature as I was hoping. So I'm gonna leave the flame on. I'm gonna flip it over, hook up the air, and just see what it does. I don't wanna make a big bubble top, just a little form. But let's see what happens. You got about a good minute or so working time with this, because it's kind of like oil doesn't cool off very fast, so plastic doesn't either. So I'm going to try not to pop it. Yeah, there it is. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, it cracked.
Oh no.
Yep, it's deflating. We're gonna work with what we can. Look at that.
Oh no.
That's weird. Came right from this screw hole. So this will hold its form. You know, I got air going in. That's about how much rise we want, but I'm gonna have to redo this. Yeah, it cracked right to that bolt hole. Bummer. So you pretty much just hold this pressure till it cools off. Man, that's upsetting. But not a perfect science. Welcome to my world, but that's the process. So I'm gonna have to do everything I just did all over again. But this is cool. We could build the trike, continue on with this one, even though it has a crack in it. Be a good mock-up, and we'll just make it right. Our base plate's created. The heater works perfect. Would you mind turning that propane tank off? Just shut it right down. Yeah, that's a bummer. But it's already starting to stiffen up. Temperature's really dropping now. See how soft it is?
Mm-hmm. What do you think caused the crack?
Operator error. Be trying to rush through yet another video.
No, you weren't.
All of it is preparation. For me to take that next piece of plastic is going to be 15 minutes, heat it up 20 minutes, and we're done. But yeah, look how flexible this stuff still is.
So are you going to do another one then real quick? No, you're done.
No, this will hold its shape. We could just continue building that thing. As soon as it cools off, it'll just hold its shape. Well, you want reality? There it is.
So basically, Ian, it just popped. He's mad because it's really hot here. Whew. So what is your game plan then? Now that it popped and it's...
I'm going to do the exact same thing, but do it right. Next time.
So wanted to get an up close of what went wrong. I don't have mics on because we're doing this is post.
There. Cool.
Ah, okay.
Told you I could do it. So I did the same thing over again, the right way, without cracking off the edge, and that's where we're at. It's a little curved right here, but that's nothing. I could just warm that up again and clamp it down flat. The main thing was to get this rise out of it, and I didn't want it to be super tall. One thing you'll notice is all the silicone that got squished out, so it's not an issue, see? It doesn't attach. So it's going to be a pretty simple cleanup. We're going to take all the silicone off, buff this out with some super fine compound, same you would use on auto paint, and then it gets bolted down to the roof. Gets bolted down to the roof of the trike, and then the little trim strip goes right on there. So that's kind of what we'll see. A lot of times we say don't try this at home. I'm not saying that this time. Use caution. See you next time.